Hi everybody, this is Lainey from Hilltop Home Place. I'm coming to you this morning from just a comfortable chair on my carport. I've been out walking around my yard all morning, just kind of looking for little vacant spots where I could plant some things. I have to leave some vacant spots for all the tomatoes and peppers that I'm going to be putting out that are sitting over here in my solo cups and stuff. I have to leave some space for those, but I was looking for just like little inconspicuous spots that I might could stick a winter squash or a melon or something like that. I've been wanting to do this for days, and I do walk around sometimes and plant things just here and there, but this morning I really just sat in my den, sat there with all my seeds and went through bags of stuff and just made some decisions about certain things I wanted to plant. And then I actually got the seeds out, got outside and did it. So big milestone, big hurdle I got over today to actually get the job done. And I feel like I did get a lot of empty spaces taken care of. And hopefully, weather permitting, seeds germinating and all that stuff, sprout me some extra food. I tend to do things like this as a way to put action into things I'm worrying about. If I have stresses on my mind or something, I like to go outside. I like to get out in my garden. I like to feel like I'm doing something. So that gives me the feeling, it may be an illusion, but it's true feeling of taking control and putting into action something that can control my future. That's one of the wonderful things about seeds. And why I love them so much. And I'm actually doing a little studying on the side, and I'm learning so much about seeds right now. And it just gives me great joy to kind of pick some varieties out, go put them in the yard. It's God's miracle how they all work, but when they come up and they start growing, and then if everything goes right, you're actually getting food from them. I mean, it's amazing. And I feel like I'm not the only person that says things like that. A lot of people do, but it really is amazing. And for me, it kind of puts the world back in a line. It puts the world back in a line to where we can do the work. We can have some say-so in it. But really how it all happens is so much out of our control. And it's so much from God, and it lets me know every time I see something growing who that higher power is, and that I'm just the tender down here. I'm just the person that's tending this, but He is putting this amazing genetics and growth power in these seeds to have. I'll just hold these up for a second. These one little seed there. These are bigger as seeds go, but still just a seed. And that one day it can produce something where these can potentially be 3 foot long, these seeds. That little seed can grow into something potentially 3 foot long. It's amazing. What am I stressing about? The world is good right now. The world is good. But that's my point today. That's kind of what has been on my mind. And it's like, I told my friend this morning when I talked to her, I said, I kind of want to do a video going over some of the thoughts that are going through my mind. I'd just like to put it out there and see what you think. But this is what it is. Good news, very good news. Yesterday I opened my mailbox and there was a letter in there from my husband's long-term disability company. As you know, he's on long-term disability, but they put him up for a big review to see if he was really disabled and if he really deserved to be put on permanent status, to where he would get a check from now, hopefully, until the time he hits full retirement, which is in another 7.5 years. And getting on that permanent status is important, because when you're not on the permanent status, they call you all the time. They want to know, is he ready to go back to work all the time? How is he doing? Is he driving yet? And it's just it's like you're on continual review. And it's very hard because his situation has not changed, and barring a miracle from God, which is fine if that happens, but his situation is not going to change. So it was a very frustrating thing to always be under this review, I guess you would say, under this every 3-month phone call thing that has been going on the last 2 years, and then to be put under the scrutiny of a final review. And So as I told you, I just said, I'm not going to sit back and just wait on some type of letter. They told me that they needed documentation, and that if they didn't get it, his claim could be subject to being denied. So I just took it upon myself to make sure they had every document available on Richard, and we went to every doctor and every hospital and obtained everything. And I made copies and sent them a big, huge box with all of his stuff, and a cover letter, and said, here it is. And you had to answer questionnaires and everything, and I was very thorough on all that. And I felt like there was no way they could deny him, because his situation is so debilitating and so permanent. But you never know how things go. One, you never know how they go just because you're dealing with a corporation, but two, with the state of the world right now, how things are going to go. And so that brings me to my second point. I did get a letter saying that he was approved for payments for the future, but he is still subject to, we have to turn in documentation of any doctor visits, and he has to actually see doctors. He can't just get to a point where he doesn't go to the doctor. We have to take him to the doctor. So we already do that anyway, and I'm going to continue to do that because they have him on some medicines, and you have to have all that reviewed. So anyway, that's not a problem. And I celebrated it. I just took a deep breath yesterday. I reread the letter to make sure I read it right. I was so relieved and so happy. And then I told my husband about it, and I told him, this is good news. We got good news. We can kind of, I feel like that cloud lifted off my shoulder. That cloud lifted. And it did. But this morning, when I woke up, I just started thinking, and I kind of want to bump this off to you, because I feel like, though we're in a special situation, I guess you would say, dealing with disability and a stroke and all that stuff, we're all kind of connected in this world. And though my situation might be this, yours might be something else, a lot of times the circumstances around everything joins us together. So while we're dealing with disability, you might be perfectly healthy but on a pension or something like that, but we can kind of all be in the same boat. And here's what I want to tell you why. I did kind of wake up with some anxiety this morning, because I thought the worst thing I can do is to get complacent. I did due diligence to help with this claim. The claim was approved, but the last thing that I really need to do is sit on my laurels and act like that payment is good to go until he's 67. Our other source of income is Social Security, because he did qualify for full Social Security disability. I don't want to sit back and sit on my laurels and think, okay, we're getting Social Security and we're getting this disability. We're good to go. Everything's fine. Let's rock and roll. That's not a good state of mind to be in. When you wake up and you hear news of these banking failures, of a lot of these corporations laying off lots of people, when you hear of AI taking over jobs and that a lot of people are going to be laid off and things like that, it's not, we're not living in a world where we can just separate ourselves. There's very, very, very few people who are good to go. There's very, very, very few people who can say, I'm good to go. I'm not affected by anything else that happens in this world. I'm watching everything as a big picture, because if I don't, we could be caught red-handed and in a worse situation than we are now if I don't pay attention. When these banks are going under, I think First Republic was officially taken over Friday evening. They always do everything on a Friday evening. When it was officially taken over, that's another big bank that has bit the dust. On the one hand, there might be just terrible problems in the banking system that could bring the whole system down. On the other hand, it could be a controlled demolition by these global elites. Which way's better? Which way's better? I don't know. Neither way is better. But when you hear about these things, and then you know the state of the economy, if I gave you right now $50,000 in cash, in a weird way, we're just in a part of time to where that's almost a liability. I know that sounds funny, but think about it. We're in a state of time in this world right now where you would have to stop and think, do I really want cash? I don't know if that cash is going to be good very long. Let me go put it in the bank. Oh yeah, the banks might be folding. I might get to my bank on a Monday and find out it closed. Okay, so let me not put it in the bank. Let me go buy stocks with it. Oh, wait, the stock market is completely corrupt. It's run like a casino now. It's run by hedge fund managers that are manipulating it all the time. It's run by big corporations doing certain things so that if they want to buy back their own stock, they make sure the stock price goes down so they can buy back more. Or they make sure it goes up real high so that their CEOs can cash out and make a lot of money right before the company goes under. And none of this is anything we're privy to. So no, I better not go buy stocks. Well, I'll do bonds then. I'll go put my money in the bond market. Bonds are always stable, right? No. The bond market is probably where you don't want to be right now unless you're very, very, very savvy and you have some very good information. I would be running from bonds. What do I do with my money right now? Oh, I guess I'll take that $50,000 and go buy some land. Okay, that's probably the safest thing you could do right now is to go buy an asset with it. And when I say asset, I'm not talking about a car or a tractor or something that's going to devalue. I'm talking about an asset like land. But the point I'm getting at is if we're having the struggle of figuring out what to do with our little bits of money and what to do even with our 401ks or anything like that, because where is it safe anymore? Where is it safe? But please do not think that the big corporations and the big insurance companies, like the type of insurance companies that handle long-term disability claims, please don't think that they're not struggling with the same issues. Whenever the companies, like my husband's company, pays the premium each month on those long-term disability policies that they hold on all their thousands of workers, they pay some money each month to the carrier. The carrier doesn't just put that money in a bank where it's safe, and then one day after they've gotten thousands and millions and maybe billions of dollars worth of premiums, they get a claim, they just pay money straight out of that account to the person with the claim. I wish it worked that way. I think it should work that way. I think the money should be escrowed and sitting there so that they would have enough to pay their claims. I think that should be how it works. But it doesn't work that way because they take the money that they get from premiums and they put it out there into the world. They put it into bonds. They put it into treasuries. They put it into stocks. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but a lot of money from pension plans in the United States of America has been invested straight into companies like BlackRock, like Vanguard, like Open Door. All of these companies take the money that they're given by these pension administrators and they have been investing it in buying up houses all across America, building subdivisions all across America, apartments, rental properties, everything else. And they take that money and they put it into all those things, which a lot of which are collapsing right now. A lot of which are collapsing. Did you think a year or so ago you would be hearing statements like BlackRock is in danger? BlackRock has been the big kahuna for years now of success, of investing. And that sounded good, except people probably didn't realize it was their pension monies that BlackRock was using to invest. This isn't a financial show. I'm telling you in this show to do your own digging. I'm going to do a lot of digging on the company that is paying us the disability claims every month. They're a big national company. If I said the name, you would know them. It's a big national company, but that doesn't mean anything anymore. You know what that means? The bigger they are, the harder they fall. I think we all need to be aware that the sources of where our funds come from, those companies, those pensions, those retirement funds, 401ks even, and especially like this disability payments, they come from corporations that have taken all of their assets from premiums and things like that and put it into investment vehicles. And a lot of these investment vehicles are collapsing, or they're shaky, or some of them just don't even exist, but they're used as an investment vehicle, like derivatives. That's another story. But they put them in a lot of these things to try to generate high returns, and then they pay your pensions and things like that out of the returns that they get off of these investments. Well, they're in danger. A lot of the investments are collapsing. The treasury market is not great for them to make enough returns to pay their claims. It's not smart for them to take premiums in or payments in and sit on them anymore, because inflation is eating them away. If they're making 0 or 1% on their cash sitting in the bank, then inflation, being whatever it truly is now, whether they say it's 6 to 8%, it's really probably double that. But that's eating away their gains. So they can't do that. They can't even just hold on to the money to pay out claims. They have to put it somewhere. And right now, they're not much different than you and I on being in a pretty big dilemma, trying to figure out where to put proceeds right now that we would have. Where to put it. If you sold your house today because you decided you want to buy a homestead, say, and you made $200,000 off of your home because you had a good amount of equity in it, if you don't already have a piece of property chosen, and you don't already have maybe a contract in the works, and your plan is to just put the $200,000 aside and to find some land at some point in an undetermined time in the future and then move to it, it's a risky prospect right now to have that $200,000 just sitting in a bank or sitting there somewhere in an investment vehicle that's supposedly safe, like a treasury or something like that. It's very risky right now. It's very risky. So while I'm so grateful that this cloud has lifted as far as him just being approved, it's also kind of thrown me into the, well, what if kind of situation. And when you do go through these what if questions, it does not mean you don't have faith. It doesn't mean you don't have faith in God. It doesn't mean you don't have faith that they might pay you for a while. What it means is, if you take in the data that's out there and available right now, and you apply it to the company or the organization that's paying you this money, and 1 + 1 does not equal 2, you do need to think, what if they can't pay me? What if they have all of their premium money in high risk things like derivatives? And if you want to know what derivatives are, they're nothing. Derivatives are nothing. They're just like paper that's traded between companies. I'll buy this paper from you for this amount, and later on I'll buy this from you for this amount, and we'll just let this paper go around amongst all these different investment firms, and we pay each other for it, and it's really nothing. You know how you walk up to a card table where someone might be using a solo cups, and they're playing a game where they want you to guess which cup the quarter's under, and if you guess which cup the quarter's under after they shuffle them all around, you win. Well, in those shell games, they don't want you to really find that cup, because if you found that quarter, the house loses and you would win because you found the quarter. Well, in the game of derivatives, they want you to find the quarter. They want you to look at the shiny little quarter that you found under the cup, and they want you to focus on the quarter, and they want you to think that that quarter gives you security because you've won. What they don't want you to know is the absolute nothingness that's under all the other cups, because that's where their game really lies. The quarter is a diversion. The nothingness under all the other cups is where they make their money. That's what derivatives are. They're just paper notes traded around by companies, and a lot of pensions, a lot of 401ks, and a lot of insurance companies have a lot of their investments in derivatives. I'm a little bit of a nerd sometimes. I'm one of these people that will read the whole brochure. I'm one of these people that will get on the website of, say, my husband's 401k company. We don't have it with them anymore, the one his company had. But at the time when we did have it, I was one of those people who got on there and clicked on every option and read everything. I read where every single fund was invested. And I wanted to die after doing it, because we had put so much money through the years into this 401k, and his company matched it, and the balances looked great. They were rising and they were growing. But at the core of where that money was sitting was a lot of derivatives. And they told you that in there. If you clicked far enough, if you read far enough after you clicked, you found out that a lot of your holdings were in a lot of financial stocks. A lot of your holdings were in derivatives. A lot of your holdings were just in paper instruments. And it was generating returns because that's what they're there for. They're there to make it look like you're earning money. If you ever hear about the overnight repo market, it's if you were to go put $100,000 in your bank, they sweep it out that night. It's gone that night. They take it and they buy what they call an overnight repo document. They buy something from the government and then sell it the next day again. They buy it the next day and then sell it the next day. And they might only earn 0.01%, but they've earned something. So your 100,000 to the bank all of a sudden became 100,000 plus whatever they earned on it by doing this overnight. But they do it the next night and the next night and the next night and the next night. Your $100,000 never stays at the bank. A lot of people don't realize that. You really don't have money in your 401k, really and truly. They sell things if they need to pay you. But the money is not truly in your name. You don't truly own those stocks. But what I'm trying to say with all this is to do a deep dive in your own life. Do the deep dive on your 401k and see where your money really is. If you have a private investor, an FA, or someone helping you with things, do a deep dive and see really where your money is. It may be doing great, and there's nothing against people that invest for you, especially if you're very involved and you're telling them where you want your money. That's fine. But a lot of times our money is put into things we don't understand. And all we do is we open a mail statement that comes in, or we check our balance online and we just see if it's up or down. And we don't truly know exactly where our money is. So when we're sitting there at night watching the news, or we're hearing a video and it's talking about the collapse of this and the collapse of that, and how inflation is this and inflation is that, sometimes we don't relate it to ourselves. We just don't. We think, oh, that's out in the business world. Well, all those things out in the business world control the money that you get. They control your 401k. They control your pension. They control my payments from long-term disability. And unfortunately, when they are married to our government, like Social Security, they not only control the Social Security, they can completely annihilate the whole program because of their misrepresentation and their misuse of funds, and basically just their ability to squander it and to blow a good thing. And I don't trust that either, but that could be a whole nother video. Right now, I just know that while I'm glad we are going to be getting payments for a while, I have to go into plan B mode. What if these payments stop? What if I get a letter from them saying they're going under? What if I don't get a letter, but I just see on the news one Monday morning that Friday evening my company that pays us was shut down? These things can happen, and they can happen quick. I've tried diligently to bring our debt down to where we're not dependent on both sources of income, just stay dependent on one. I don't really even love being just dependent on one, but at least I've tried to free us from being dependent on both. The other one is just going to serve as an emergency fund right now, or a repair fund for our house, repair fund for our cars, things like that. I've tried to bring our debt down so that we're not depending on that. And also, for our situation with the disability, yes, they might pay and they might never give us any trouble, and they might pay until my husband reaches 67. But if something happens to him before then, it stops. And so I can't sit back and depend on it anyway, because just life happens sometimes. People get sicker, people have heart attacks, things happen sometimes. And the whole policy is attached to him. It's not a beneficiary type situation. The policy is attached to him. So if he passes away, it's gone anyway. So I don't want to depend on it for that reason. But the main reason I want to get out from under depending on it is because of the state of the world. But the more I learn and the more I know and the more I realize how tied in all of the pension funds in America are to these risky investments, and how people that you think you can trust have mismanaged so many of these pensions. And in that chase, that big chase that they all go on for higher returns, to generate higher returns, they have squandered a lot of money. And a lot of the things that we see on TV and all are damage control now, to try to make it where people aren't panicking, and people aren't pulling all their money out of banks, and people aren't pulling all their money out of 401ks and out of the market, because then it probably will completely collapse. A lot of it is just damage control. Do I want to be caught up in damage control, or do I want to have a real view of what's going on? I'd rather have a real view. And if that real view makes it where I need to go out and plant seeds to make sure we have plenty of food for us and for our family, I'm going to plant some seeds. These seeds are not only a gift from God, they are therapy for me, because a lot of times they are one of the only concrete ways that I can stave off some type of imminent thing like hunger if the world starts going crazy. If the banks go under, if everyone's Social Security stops or whatever, it's going to be a mess. And never in my life have I felt that it's this close. And I feel like the only thing separating us at some point from what's coming is just the actions that are being taken to keep us in the dark. A lot of good financial people will say that the only thing standing between what is happening right now and total collapse is that Americans still have confidence in our system. As long as we have confidence and we're not pulling completely out of the system, it can stay, the game can go on. The game can go on. I, for one, have no confidence in it anymore. I do still have money in the bank because your checks and all are direct deposited. They don't give you an option. You have to direct deposit now, and you have bills to pay. So I'll keep the game going that way as long as possible. But in a lot of other ways, I'm putting my money more into assets and things like that, and doing my best. I'm just doing my best. We all, though, have to think what is best for us. What is best for us? And I spend a lot of time thinking about that while I'm walking around my yard. I don't want to end this video on such a serious note, but I just implore you, if your money's in a 401k, just do some digging. Just click around. Find out what this fund, this global international fund, where's the money, who's it invested in? And they'll tell you in there, because I think they have to, they'll tell you what their goals are for that account and what the risks are for that fund, I should say. Go look at the growth funds, the emerging market funds. Go look and see what the investors, the people that are investing your money into the market, the administrators of the account, go read what their goals are. Go read where they tell you how much of a percentage of these funds are in derivatives and this, that, and the other, and then ask questions and find out. And if you're 60% in bonds right now, you need to educate yourself, and you need to figure out, because your resources that you are so depending on for retirement can be gone in a puff. They can be gone just in a puff. I've tried to shore up our investments in the background from his 401k, that it's now something else, a different vehicle now, but I've tried to shore that up so that if something does happen to this income, I've at least tried to mitigate it by investing in a different way on this end. I don't want everything all to be in the same pot. I don't want to see insurance companies and banks fail only to find out all of our 401k money was in insurance companies and banks and derivatives and repo markets. I didn't want that, so I have diligently worked against that and tried to spread out the risk. That would be something I would advise everybody to do. Analyze it, research it, find out where your funds are or where they're coming from. Research the companies that your pension plans, they send you stuff. Read it. Get online, do some digging. Find out how stable your pension is. Read everything. And if you don't understand it, ask questions. Because we can't rejoice very long and think clouds are lifted off of us when there's such a shaky, sandy foundation under our feet right now. That's all I kind of wanted to say. I know it took a long time, and I apologize. I just feel like that's on my mind today, because sometimes while gardening videos are fun, garden tours are cute and they're fun to do, and I enjoy showing what I'm growing. My mind is always a little bit more deeper than that. And I have a big burden on me to make sure that I stay on top of things. And I hope that you do too. I wanted to show you, jumping into seeds now, I wanted to show you what I planted today, and I'll tell you just a little bit why, and it won't take but a second, but I just wanted to kind of show you a few of the things that I ran out in my yard today and planted. I ran into Tractor Supply the other day, and they just had this hybrid brand of summer squash. It's called Pick and Pick. I had already planted some straight neck squash, yellow squash, that I just planted the other day. It hasn't even really come up yet. This is more of a crookneck here. And I also planted some crookneck in my other flower bed, and it's not doing the greatest. So I had some straight neck and some crookneck. So I thought, I just got this pack. Sometimes I have the best of luck with just the burpee stuff. This you get at Tractor Supply or Walmart or wherever. They tend to do fine. So I just thought, what? Let me shore up my squash a little bit, make sure I'm going to get some. So I went out there today, found some more spots, and put some more yellow squash. I picked out one of my winter squashes. This one's called Sibley squash. The seeds came from Seed Savers Exchange. It's just a big bluish with orange flesh winter squash. My winter squash seems to be doing good. They seem to like the shade. I'm hoping I end up with some. So I had another little spot that I could put some of this that's kind of in a dappled sun shady spot. So why waste that spot? So I put 4 seeds out of this today, hoping I get some. I don't know. You just have to plant the seeds, see what happens. I have this big old pack of okra. It's a 1/4 pound pack of this burgundy okra. And I have so many seeds in here, it's unreal. And you'll see the price, it was only $1.50. I bought this at one of the co-ops that I go to. I just happen to buy these in Poplarville, Mississippi, but you can buy them wherever. But my Silver Queen okra, I got those seeds from Hoss Tools, nothing against them or anything, but they have just not come up well. I think 2 of them came up, and they're staying kind of small. And then I had a bunch of missed spots, so I replanted the other day. Those might eventually come up, but it's been over a week or so now, and they haven't shown up. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to plant a different kind. I'm going to plant a kind I know grows good around here. This burgundy okra grows good. I'm just going to kind of pivot. If it all comes up, I'll just have a whole bunch of okra plants all planted together. I'm not worried about it, but I wanted to get some more in the ground. The seeds I showed you a while ago were for tromboncino squash. I got these from seedsforthesouth.com. It's just off the internet. But these, you can harvest them young, anywhere from 8 to 14, 15 inches, and eat them like zucchini or squash. Or you can let them grow and they'll get really long and they'll curve, and you kind of can trellis them and everything, and they'll grow into a winter squash. I'm going to try them both ways. I'm going to eat them young because I've heard that's really how they taste the best. But I also wanted to get another type of winter squash going. And what I did was I put these where my azalea pole beans are. And those pole beans at some point will probably kind of peter out. Some people say pole beans go all the way to fall, and these might, don't get me wrong. But a lot of times in our South Louisiana heat, they just don't make it through that heat. A lot of times they will peter out on us. So I thought I would go ahead and have these squash growing at the bottom, kind of in the shade of all those plants. And by the time these get bigger, I'll know whether those are going to stay around or not. If they all want to coexist together, fine. If they don't, then I'm going to trellis these tromboncino squash on those azalea branch poles and everything. So I think it'll work out good. Now the last 4 things that I ran out there and planted today are melons. I planted Crenshaw melons. These came from South Georgia Seed Company, just a Crenshaw melon. An early silver line melon. The last 2 seeds I'm going to show you came from Native Seed Search. And these melons and all the seeds that they sell are kind of more to be grown in like Arizona, New Mexico, kind of dry, arid places. We do get rain. We get a lot of rain here in Louisiana, but sometimes we don't. Last summer, June just dried up. We ended up with that flash drought with no rain, nothing for like 3 or 4 weeks. It was bad. And so in those situations, these melons might do okay. Now last year, I just had trouble all around with my melons last year. Last year I had planted this one. It's called an Esperanza Diora melon with a white flesh. And it made the plant, but it never made a melon that I could harvest. So I'm gonna try again this year. This one is called a melon de Castilla. I don't know what color flesh is inside, it doesn't say, but the outside is kind of white and green and yellow. But the reason I'm planting these 4 melons is just because I'm kind of doing some research so that I can do a book review on that book I told you about called The Melon. And in it, it shows how she features 12 different groups. They have kind of official groupings of melons. And I learned a little bit, I've read the book before, but when you're reading it again to kind of talk about it, you kind of pay attention a little better than you do when you're just skimming it. So as I was learning about these different groups, I started realizing why they characterized certain melons into certain groups, because they had certain traits. And I realized as I was looking at them that, hey, I have some of those melons. I have a white fleshed, smooth melon that would be in the so-and-so group. You know, I forgot I had the melon de Castilla. Not sure, I'll have to research which group that would be in. But I was like, hey, I have the early silver line melon, which she didn't mention, but I knew how it looked. And I knew that it probably went into that oriental melon grouping. And sure enough, when I got out my seeds today, it said that this is a unique elongated oriental melon. So I was right. Just by the way it looks, puts it into a certain grouping. And the Crenshaws, the same thing. I know now which grouping the Crenshaws are in. And I didn't realize how many seeds I had from so many different groupings. And I just thought, because I kind of got caught up in it, I thought, let me get those seeds out and let me just put them out. This is the exact time of year you could put them out. Our soil has warmed up to 73 degrees. So let me just put them out. I'm gonna just see if I can grow them this year. If I can, wonderful. I'll know a lot more about them. And if I get some good fruit off of them, I'm definitely gonna save the seeds. But also, as I said, it's that actionable thing I can do. It's that actionable thing I can do to make me feel like I have a little bit of control in this world that has gotten so shaky, and that sand is shifting under our feet. But I go plant a seed in solid dirt. And as you can see from my video the other day, a lot of it is coming up. A lot of it is thriving. I've got some beans I might go pick in just a minute that I think are ready on my plant over there. And I've got peas in my freezer that I picked off my English peas and all. And it makes you feel good when you feel like you are doing something to keep your life stable, something to make sure your family's going to eat, something to just push back against that world that can seem so crazy sometimes. Do your research, as I said, but also get your seeds out and get to planting and take back a little control of your life. This world might be crazy, but we're going to get through it, and we're going to get through it by talking things out with each other. I have to talk things out sometimes so that it sticks in my heart and I know what to do, and hopefully maybe something I say sticks in your heart and it might help you, and it might help you to know that there's other people out here worrying about the same kind of things. If that's the case, we're one and we're all in it together. Thank you so much for listening to me and hanging in there. This is Lainey at Hilltop Home Place. I appreciate y'all, and I thank you so much. Please like and subscribe. I always forget to say that, but please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.